each and every one of them that's in the ordinance and looking at us on air. Good evening, and we ask now that Commissioner Griffin will give us the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you will, bow with me. Dear Heavenly, most gracious Father, we come to you tonight seeking your guidance, Father, as we come to discuss the many things going on in our county. We just ask that you be with us and that you give us the wisdom and the knowledge to deal with the things that we have to. Father, we just pray for our servicemen and women across the world. Father, and I just want to pray for our peace officers here in our country and all the things that are happening in the world, Father. We know you're at work to take care of everything. And as long as we give it to you, it's all going to be taken care of. Father, once again, as we go through this meeting, I ask your love on each and every person here and help us decide on things that we need to decide on in a way that be pleasing to you. We ask these things in our name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin, for the pledge and the invocation. Just like to let everyone know that Commissioner Cozart is en route. He just left a meeting in Warren County. He's on the way here. Okay, with that being said, can I get approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented tonight.
Mr. Chair. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll withdraw that motion.
I'm sorry. So we have under solid waste matters, there are two matters on the agenda. The second one is a contract award for convenience site management agreement. We'd ask that that matter be pulled from the agenda and continued until the first meeting in June.
Is that number 13, sir?
That's the second half of number 13.
Okay.
The two matters combined as an agenda item, but the first matter, contract award for solid waste collection franchise, can move forward.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I will amend my motion to approve the agenda as presented with the exception of the first part of item 13 on our agenda package. The second part, I'm sorry, being pulled for later at a later meeting.
I second.
It has been moved and properly second that the agenda stand approved besides pulling the agenda item 13, solid waste matter, second half until our June meeting. All in favor, use both sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same rights. The ayes have it, stand approved. Okay. The consent agenda. Can I get a motion to accept it?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been motion and proper second that we approve the consent agenda. All, are there any question or comments? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same rights. Stand approved. Introduction and recognition of and presentation. At this time, I would like to ask Jennifer Beard to come forward. Jennifer? Good evening.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. So I am here and pleased to introduce Granville County's new Assistant Finance Director, Heather Wood. Heather brings 20 years of finance experience in both the public and private sectors to this role. She has served in multiple roles with Franklin County Public Utilities, including business officer since 2019. She previously worked as head bookkeeper for the Franklin County Clerk of Superior Court within the North Carolina court system and has additional private sector experience as a payroll specialist. Heather is a graduate of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, holding a bachelor's degree in accounting. She is also a certified local government finance officer with extensive professional experience in local government finance, utility operations, budgeting, and financial administration. She is a Franklin County native and currently resides in Franklinton with her husband and 2 boys. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with family and friends, supporting community events, and staying engaged in local government initiatives. I believe her strong commitment to public service makes her an excellent addition to our team. I'm excited to have her here, and I'm confident that her knowledge and expertise in the public sector will complement both my work and the work of the entire department as we continue serving the county with integrity and excellence. So, Ms. Heather Wood.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to work alongside such a wonderful team, and I look forward to serving the residents of Granville County. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Also welcome, and we look, I know Ms. Barrett is pleased to have you on staff. We have an excellent finance department, and your addition is only going to make it that much stronger. Look forward to working with you.
Just like to say thank you and welcome.
I don't think it could have come from a better university than Liberty University, so welcome.
Okay, moving on. Public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
Yes, we do. We have Carrie Mead Bell.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. She declines at this time. Mark Yates. He declines at this time. Chico Bell. He declines. And then Tim Herman.
I decline it.
Thank you. He declines as well. Next is Emmett Centillo. Okay. All right. No further public comments at this time.
Okay. Moving right along to public hearing. Public hearing for Granville County proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget. Drew?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I talked enough 2 weeks ago that I won't go through the whole 40-minute presentation again tonight. But I want to start with the kind of frontline assumptions for this proposed budget. There's been no proposed increase to the property tax rate nor the fire tax rate. We do have a few small fee increases included in the proposed budget, but overall, the increases in next year's budget are being fully funded with natural growth in our property tax base, strong performance with our sales tax revenue, savings generated through realignment and tightening up in departmental budgets, as well as spending down some of the additional reserves we managed to accumulate through careful spending last year. The full budget presentation is posted on the county's website, as is the entirety of the proposed budget. Not necessarily assuming everybody will wade through that document, but I can say that if you did, a careful reader would find a county doing everything in its power to provide solid, justifiable, market-based increases to employee compensation, again, without any tax rate increase. Last week, we had 2 full days of robust discussion on many different parts of the proposed budget. A number of changes have been made. Pursuant to that conversation, But I appreciate, and I know that county employees really appreciate the commissioners, that commissioners understand the need for these market-based pay adjustments. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my kind of quick introduction to this public hearing. Thank you.
North Carolina General Statute 159-12B requires that the county government holds at least one public hearing on the annual budget to receive comments from the public. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive comments regarding the proposed fiscal year 2026-27 Granville County budget. The public hearing was advertised in the manner required by law. The manager received a budget was presented to the Board of Commissioners on May the 4th, 2026. And the board held a work session on Monday, May the 11th, and Wednesday, May the 13th, 2026. I declare this public hearing open. And at this time, I would like to recognize, okay, I have did that, okay. At this time, anyone wishing to speak at the public hearing, please come to the podium. When it is your turn to speak, please state your name, address for the record. The floor is now open for those wishing to speak. Okay. Nobody wishes to speak? Does the board have any questions or need any additional information?
I guess this would be appropriate time. During the budget process, we had our 16 hours of work session that was around that, and the board added a recurring expense for a much-needed position in senior services. And normally we don't fund that type of recurring expense with the format of, things that were in there. Just wanted to make sure that the public is aware that there's an additional senior services position within that budget, and it is a recurring expense. So make sure that we're square on that.
Yes. Obviously, we did talk through that over a significant amount of time during the budget work session. That joins a somewhat larger number of things that we're funding with reserves this coming year, acknowledging upfront that we'll need to find recurring revenue for those increases in fiscal 27-28.
Commissioner Karan, that was not going to start until January of 2027. You're correct on the reoccurring, but we're not going to start at July the 1st, not till mid-year.
Right. I just wanted to make sure, that wasn't something that was within the budget, discussions earlier, and that came out of the work session. That was one of the good things, positive. I think the entire outcome was positive, but just want to make sure that folks are aware we are tight. I mean, the list of why we're, natural growth, savings, spending down resources, market rate type things, those are sound fiscal, responsible things to do. And I just want to make sure people are aware we are leveraging tomorrow's money so that folks don't get surprised.
I had one comment, Mr. County Manager. One thing that we talked about, but and you may have answered it, I just don't. But one of the things we talked about was the potential for a tremendous amount of additional revenue going to fuel. And so I just want to make sure that when the adjustments are made and appropriate changes are made within the county fleet and the county, both county and sheriff's office fleet, that appropriate measures are taken in regards to fuel cost and that policies are put in place, as discussed, to make sure that that's dealt with appropriately, because at the current rate, it's a significant amount of money.
Thank you, Commissioner May, and a good point. I would say two things, one of which is that we can, we have an overall fleet department budget, and I think we can be sort of conservative, taking on new leases and other kinds of obligations early on, as we just kind of keep an eye on how fuel prices are developing. And I had another thought. Can't think of what it was.
And then that's the entire fleet. I'm talking about the entire fleet. Just
Yeah.
not-
Oh, and as you know, and we talked about this during the budget work sessions as well, that we're working on a new vehicle policy for the county that I believe will have, sort of help us reduce fuel consumption across the entire fleet when implemented.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Declare the public hearing closed. Does the board have any further need any other clarification?
Mr. Chair, I'm trying to find something. Just give me 1 second. I brought this book for a reason tonight. Again, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to emphasize that appropriate review has gone on by our, for this budget, by our finance office. And this is particularly related to schools, because we continue to see some feedback on this that I think it's important that we reiterate each and every time we have the opportunity to. The $15 million loan, which Ms. Beard gave us a great detail on, and which actually provides us an opportunity to actually, by investing money in the way that we do the loan, actually earn money. And the other part of that is to clarify the growing misconception that these are for stadiums or for unuseful school amenities. This project covers roofs at South Granville and JF Webb, which really take up the bulk of the money. We do also have some paving at the JF Webb High School and South Granville High School to replace tracks that, quite frankly, are so far beyond where they should be that we should have replaced them a long time ago, and it's being done now. So I just want to make sure that the public understands that that's all part of the budget and all part of what we're doing to better our infrastructure for our schools, and it's absolutely needed. Thank you.
Okay. Do any other commissioner have anything? And thank you for Commissioner May for explaining about that 15. It's a lot of people's got a question saying that the county is giving school another $15 million, but that ain't what it is. And thank you for explaining to us. Okay? Then what the pleasure of the board?
I don't think there's any action associated.
Oh, there's no
with
action?
that.
Okay. All right then. Okay. Do we go down to agenda item number 9? Approval of resolution to extend Narcon strategy with the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition. Oh, okay. Miss Kathy?
Good evening, Commissioners. Elise Powell is with me, who is the Executive Director of the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition. We're here tonight to extend the contract for the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition another 3 years. They have been essential in increasing the distribution of naloxone throughout Granville County. And I think I will let Elise say more about the benefits of naloxone and the work that the Harm Reduction Coalition does. But it was at the March 26th Opioid Advisory Committee that it was a unanimous vote to recommend to all of you to approve funding the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition for an additional 3 years. So I will let Elise say a few words.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for having me today. As Kathy mentioned, I'm Elise Powell. I'm the Executive Director of the North Carolina Harm Reduction Coalition. And we've been really thrilled to have this partnership over the last year, despite due to contracting having a little bit of a late start to the year. We managed to distribute over 230 naloxone kits across the county. We served over 40 different people, which is really incredible. Like I said, we only had a few months under contract together. And this is critical for a lot of different reasons, right? It's lives saved, which is so important. It's real connections to care. I see a lot of naloxone programs where someone puts something on a shelf in a box. The way we do it, we are going out to where people are, to where the folks who are at the highest risk are getting the naloxone that they need. And it's starting a real conversation about that person's health, right? It's engaging them. Oftentimes, we are the first front door that people walk into before they're able to walk into any other door, right? So it's saying, okay, are you ready for treatment? Are we ready to get housed? Are we ready to get access to services? Do you need a ride somewhere, right? So it's about naloxone distribution, but it's about all the things that happen around that naloxone distribution. I'll also say, we're at a time where it is unprecedented challenges to hospitals, particularly rural hospitals. And one of the best, cheapest ways that you can prevent unnecessary hospital visits is through community naloxone distribution. It costs, on average, about $11,000 to hospitalize one person for an overdose. If they need ICU care, that's $20,000 per person. Granville County is on track this year to have over 45 people become hospitalized for overdoses. I will just share that a single naloxone kit cost me $7. I think we would all rather see Granville Medical and other hospitals spend that $500,000 somewhere else, right? So it's not just that naloxone is an important way to save lives, it's an important way to engage people to care. It's also preventing unnecessary hospitalizations and overburdening our healthcare system, which I think now more than ever is incredibly critical. So we've been really loving the partnership with the county that we've had. We would love to continue it for another 3 years. Thank you so much.
Anyone have any questions?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Why 3 years on the contract?
Primarily because we wanted some consistency from year to year. We found that a year was just not enough time to really get programs implemented. So we wanted to give programs time to be implemented so that we could track progress, monitor them. And we just felt that 3 years was long enough, but not too long.
I'll also share that it's really hard to hire someone on a single-year contract, right? So to sustain staff, it's important to have multi-year projects.
Anyone else have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion that we accept the Opioid Advisory Committee's recommendation and renew this contract.
I'll make the second.
It's been moved and proper second that we accept the recommendation coming from the opiate committee, right?
And of course, it would include the county attorney and county manager in the signature and negotiation of that. So
Okay,
this goes without saying,
okay,
but I said it.
all right. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor, use voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Stand approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Finance matter. NC Education and Drawdown. Ms. Jennifer?
Good evening. So we are here to consider approval of the North Carolina Education Lottery Drawdown requests for fiscal year 25, 26. So in 2010, the county issued a Recovery Zone Economic Development Bond to fund construction of the Tar River Elementary School. And in 2021, the county refinanced this debt to achieve interest savings and reduce long-term cost. And under North Carolina law, counties may use this North Carolina Education Lottery capital funds to pay debt service on school construction projects. So NCDPI requires, which is North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, requires counties to submit a board-approved application before releasing funds from the lottery-supported funds. So the total outstanding school construction debt for this 2021 limited obligation bond is a little over $4 million. The current year debt service is $572,843. The available lottery capital funds currently to draw down for this fiscal year will cover a portion of that at $410,128. So I have a slide that will show, do I need to click it? There are some questions and some misconceptions about the North Carolina Education Lottery and how that funds are funneled through the state and through to the counties. So for the Education Lottery, there are two pots of fundings. There's the regular lottery fundings that's distributed based on the student population. And there's a formula that goes into that, and the General Assembly determines what that funding formula is. The county doesn't determine it, the state doesn't determine it. The General Assembly does, and then the DPI funnels that funds through to the counties. So those funds can be used to support school construction, capital projects, and debt service. So that's the regular lottery funds that have been in place for decades. Then there is a fairly new, within the last 4 or 5 years, the repair and renovation funds. And that's just a flat amount that's provided to the counties every year, and it earns interest. And it can be used for general maintenance, repairs, and upgrades. So I think this is where some of the misconception comes in, that the county is receiving millions and millions of dollars. And if you look on the left, I just did the last 10 years. This is the regular lottery fund. And you can see that in just 25-26, we've received $199,000 that we can use toward debt service. The year before was $535,000, and it's cumulative. If you don't use that $400,000 or $500,000, it will draw interest and sit there until you use it. So we had $201,000 left from the previous year that we did not need for that particular debt service payment. And so now we are using it to draw down with the current year that $410,128 that's available, and that will go towards that debt service. Your repair and renovation, which started in 2022, I'm not sure exactly how that flat amount is determined. It's not the same formula that the General Assembly sets, and it's obviously not the exact same amount. But you can see it's from $200,000 to $500,000 a year, and that's cumulative. So there's a current balance of $1.8 million that the county can use to help fund the needed projects of the public schools. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that, and any misconceptions about the funds that are funneled through to the county and the pots that they are in and what they can be used for. So this particular drawdown request is for that $410,000 that will help offset the $572,000 debt payment service that's due this current fiscal year. So I'm requesting approval of the education drawdown.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question before we make the motion. Ms. Bayer, what's the length of that term? 10 years?
I want to think it's longer than that. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't check on the term. Checked on the outstanding amount, which is a little over 4 million.
Let me know sometime.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we accept our finance directors to use the $410,128.19 for the drawdown.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
It has been moved in proper second that, I'm having a time with this, Ms. Mike, I match it and then go, give Ms. Beard, permission to draw down the education and finance. All in favor? Use vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Beard.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the county manager a question about the $1.8 million.
Go ahead.
Mr. Baird or county manager, how did we, where's that at for us now, and what are the plans for that, and how does that work?
You may be able to give a better answer than I can, but there are sort of certain requirements. It's not the case that absolutely any capital need can be submitted. It's kind of a burdensome process, and so they look for large, single eligible things where they can get a good chunk of that lottery funding. I don't know.
It is housed with DPI currently, so we don't have the money. It's just like this drawdown that when we have eligible costs, there has to be an application that is submitted that can draw down those funds. And there has been funds drawn down a little over $400,000, and part of that was some of the schools matched to cover weight room cost. But it needs to be like renovation, bigger projects, not just general maintenance. It says general maintenance, but it more of a infrastructure kind of maintenance.
Are those activities, when you work with that county manager, is that coordinated with the school board and school administration on the projects that they're identifying?
They're driving it. They really initiate it and then reach out to me and let me know what they're working on. And if it's a bigger project that's going to be a larger amount, they will actually work with DPI themselves to make sure that all the paperwork is submitted, and then we will work together to get that signed.
And they're well aware of that fund balance and so forth.
They are.
All right, thank you.
But those are capital improvements that those funds are used for?
That's
not-
correct.
Okay.
It couldn't be used with the track and at South Granville and Webb, right?
It could have been, but it would have created like more of a piecemeal trying to get these projects done. It was a little bit easier to just do them as a whole than to trying to piecemeal a little bit here and there. I think they're trying to save it for a project that they can use up the majority of it without going over. But it's there and it's available, and it can be used for those purposes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bigg. What the, y'all hear it come from our finance director? What the pledge?
We've already made a motion. Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you, Ms. Bigg.
I have one other finance matter to bring before the board. And
Okay.
it is approval of the project ordinance for the Marshall Landing Subdivision Street Improvement Project that was approved more recently in board meetings. So just to give the background on that, just so that the public is a little aware if they didn't see the previous meetings, is Granville County received petitions from property owners within the Marshall Landing subdivision requesting that the county undertake street improvements necessary for the subdivision street to meet the North Carolina Department of Transportation standards for acceptance into the state-maintained road system. So in response, the board previously approved a preliminary assessment resolution, and will consider a final assessment resolution following public hearing. So this project ordinance establishes the formal budget and funding source and administrative authority required to carry out the improvements. The project includes construction, engineering, legal services, mailing costs, and required public notices. I'm not sure if the breakdown is there. No. And the total project cost is $332,600 for construction, engineering, legal services, and mailing costs. So to ensure timely completion of the project, the general fund will front the full cost. These funds will be repaid through special assessments levied on the benefiting property owners as authorized under Article 9, Chapter 153A of the North Carolina General Statute. And key considerations supporting the project, adoption of the project ordinance include clear financial structure. Establishing a dedicated project ordinance ensures that all project-related expenditures are properly budgeted, tracked, and audited. The compliance with the statutory requirement. The project ordinance is required for capital projects financed through special assessments. Efficient project delivery. So authorizing the county manager, finance director, and planning director to administer the project allows construction engineering activities to proceed without delay. And reimbursement to the general fund. Adoption of the ordinance ensures that the general fund will be fully reimbursed once assessments are collected, maintaining fiscal responsibility. So this project ordinance provides the legal and financial framework necessary to complete the improvements and recover all costs from the property owners who directly benefit from the project. So we are recommending the approval of the project ordinance for the Marshall Landing Subdivision Street Improvement Project.
Mr. Chairman, just a comment so that the public that are watching understand that the county is fronting this money, but that it is being paid back by the homeowners.
Yes.
And we have the right, according to the county attorney, to place liens on the properties should those not be paid back.
That's correct.
So I just think it's important that the public doesn't think we're funding a private road for citizens.
Thank you.
Appreciate that clarification, Commissioner. This time, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the county manager and finance director to move forward with the project ordinance for Marshall Landing subdivision.
I second it.
It has been moved in along with the county manager and the attorney sign off on that the Marshall Landers Improvement Project ordinance be approved. All in favor, use both sides.
Aye.
All opposed? Stand approved. Thank you. Planning matter. Safe streets and roads for all grants for US 15 and Hester Road. Barry will come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. This is a federal grant opportunity, and what's being asked is to consider approval of the proposed grant application by Granville County to assist the North Carolina Department of Transportation with funding the construction of a new traffic circle at the intersection of US Highway 15 and Hester Road. NCDOT has projected a funding deficit of $900,000 to complete the project. The total project is estimated to be 2.1, and the deficit at this point, the NCDOT has not found the money for that deficit. But what the Safe Street and Roads for All is a federal grant that local governments, in this instance Granville County, can apply for that will provide funding towards the $900,000 deficit. The grant requires a 20% match from from Granville County. This means the grant will fund $720,000 of the deficit, and Granville County would be responsible funding the remaining $180,000 of the deficit. We were encouraged, the planning department was encouraged to seek this grant. The project was identified by the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, CAMPO. It is a high-injury network intersection. The NC DOT has determined that a traffic circle is beneficial to the intersection to reduce traffic incidents. Between 2020 and 2024, there were 27 reported accidents at the intersection of Highway 15 and Hester Road, with one being fatal. NCDOT would like to let the project in the summer of 2027. As with any potential project with the DOT, is subject to funding, and sometimes those projects don't occur. Mr. Kenneth Withrow with Campo is here. He certainly can answer questions about the benefits of roundabout and what the high injury network intersection is. As y'all know, at work sessions and whatnot, the gas tax is not funding all the projects that are needed. We're in Division 5 with Wake and Durham counties, so we certainly struggle with funding projects through the prioritization process, and so this is a potential mechanism to assist with having one intersection fixed in the county.
Mr. Winthrop, let him speak first, then we ask questions.
Well, good evening, board and board chair. My name is Kenneth Withrow with the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. We're glad to have, of course, Granville County being a constituent member with the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. And we look forward to doing future projects in this area. Just want to also let you all note, as a side note, that tomorrow we'll be having the North Falls Lake Area Study public meeting in the town of Creedmoor, and would love to have you all participate in that. But let me go ahead and move forward with regard to the roundabout. What we wanted to provide for you all are what are roundabouts. If you are not, if you've traveled the state, particularly this region, you'll find that there are a lot of roundabouts that are being built in our well, throughout the state and throughout the area, particularly if you have had or been to Raleigh, been around NC State's campus, and some other locations, you'll see those. The previous slide, if you want to go back to that first one, this location was just recently completed in Johnston County at NC 96 and NC 42 in Johnston County. So that's basically just gives you an illustration of what it looks like. There are some others that are pretty close by, I believe, in Wake Forest, and if you're in Durham, there have been some projects that have been built as well. So next slide, please. And again, just to mention to you all what's occurring statewide. Of course, this is one noted picturesque one in Clemens, North Carolina, in Forsyth County, and of course, as we've mentioned, around NC State University and the Hillsborough Street location. Next slide, please. This just gives general information about what we had looked at concerning Hester Road. This was during the 2021 through 2025 interval. You have listed what was occurring in 2020 and 2024 with regard to the number of crashes and the fatality that occurred there. This remains a high crash intersection. As I travel through the location today, of course, we do have an all-way stop, meaning stop signs on all four legs of the intersection. So in light of that and what was occurring over the past 4 to 5 years, NCDOT wanted to look at this as a location for improvement. Next slide, please. And that's just more detail with regard to that area that I was mentioning. The highlighted area should be red, but when you highlight it, of course, in ArcGIS, it shows up as blue, but it's red, and so it's a high incident area. Next slide, please. And so one of the things we want to note is what are roundabouts and what does that mean? It's a appropriate countermeasure that benefits, particularly in rural areas, the movement of traffic. What you do is you minimize your conflict points as compared to when you have always stops, and you reduce your crash. There's a crash reduction factor of about 46% and a 75% reduction in fatalities and serious injuries. And what happens is the dynamic is, of course, the drivers will slow down while maneuvering that traffic circle, and that allows those that are opposing or coming from another direction more time to react. Next slide, please. And so this is the standard intersection on the left-hand side. The roundabout is on the right-hand side. One of the things we want to note from an engineering standpoint, there are 32 conflict points when you are coming toward an intersection, a standard intersection that you see, whether in the county, state, or nation. With a roundabout, you change that dynamic with 8 conflict points. And of course, as we noted on the previous slide, this gives you better time to react. Next slide, please. And this just shows you what's occurring nationwide. I mean, not nationwide, excuse me, statewide. If you've been anywhere in the state and you've seen these have really popped up over the past 20 so years with 400 roundabouts and counting that are being built around the state. Next slide, please. And so this basically gives you, based on the HRP report, this basically gives you the components of the roundabout, where you, of course, have your major feature with regard to the circle in and of itself. You have your landscape buffers, your circulatory roadway, your entry and truck aprons, and those various features. And of course, this site cleared so that there's opportunity for those on either of the legs to see what is coming in terms of oncoming traffic and how to maneuver through the roundabout. Next slide, please. And so what we basically note is that these are concepts that we want to highlight with regard to the elimination of the traffic hazards. And so one of the things we wish to note is that roundabouts potentially help to reduce the risk of crashes at very busy intersections. And so that's one of the things that is very important to note with regard to that. And one of the things that we really want to note from a professional standpoint is that engineers with NCDOT and municipal leaders have consistently defended roundabouts as the safest and the most cost-effective solution to prevent T-bones and head-ons at high-risk intersections. Next slide, please. Of course, we note the fact of the reduction of crashes by 42%. And we note that crashes that resulted in death or serious injury decreased by 79%, and that frontal impact declined by 62%. So it's important to know the benefits from that standpoint in terms of lives. Next slide, please. We want to note with regard to that compared to a signal, well, the idea is, well, why not have a signal versus a roundabout? Of course, you recognize that it requires electricity and power to really utilize traffic signals. With regard to roundabouts, that impact of electricity is reduced to almost zero, since there's no hardware signals to operate. And depending upon the signal, of course, it lasts about 10 to 20 years. You're looking at $200,000 to $500,000 for capital improvements for that. And of course, as inflation increases, of course, it's going to increase more. And one of the things we note with regard to that, it reduces from reducing fatal and serious injuries. Of course, you're shortening wait times because when you come to a traffic signal, there's delay, and you're lowering emissions. And so that's important to note. And the last thing that I'll say with regard to the last sentence, it says, while traffic lights require complete stops and idling, roundabouts use geometry to guide cars counterclockwise at lower speeds and keeping a continuous traffic flow. So I want to highlight that as well. Next slide, please. I think this will be the last one. Yep, that's it. So those are some things I just wanted to give in terms of an educational piece with regard to roundabouts so that you're familiar with that. And as you travel the state and travel the Triangle region, look forward you to look at that, see the dynamics on how it works and how it could be applicable at your high injury intersections, particularly here in Granville County. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and glad to serve you in any way possible.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have just a couple. Thank you for sharing with us tonight.
Sure.
You gave us data from 20 to 24 about the incidents there. Do you have?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't know if you had data from 24 to the present time in terms of accidents or incidents.
Well, we don't have anything for 2026. So we've gone up to from what was originally presented in the original slide deck was 20 to 24,
right,
and then 21 to 25. And the difference in the two is that did not show in the 21 to 25 the fatality, whereas in 20 to 24, still valid data, it showed the fatality. But in both cases, there were significant crashes at that particular location.
Do you know what year that always stop was put there?
No, I do not know the date.
Okay.
2022.
22. Okay. And I guess by you recommending this tonight, we don't have another intersection with similar high risk that will fall into that same.
Well, there are, but what NCDOT looked at in terms of an intersection, there are two notable ones. But this one was one that they deemed more appropriate for the application of the roundabout as a countermeasure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If that's through, have you had a count on, since you put the four-way stop sign down there?
Okay, in accordance with your fellow commissioner, that was installed in 2022.
Right.
The count, the crash data that was captured, that has been featured in the original slide deck and the added slide deck was 21 to 2024. It was a high number. I can't remember the exact number. I remember for 21 to 25 was 15. So within that time frame, there has been a count in terms of what it was per year for each location. I do not have that data. I just have the data as it is applied to each of the 4-year intervals for which there has been a valid count captured.
Are y'all recommending at other sites with high fatality, are you recommending put a roundabout? Four ways, you got 4 ways on everywhere. Are you considering that we need to put a roundabout at other?
With regard to the high injury intersections, let me be clear about that. When we say high injury intersections, these are the top 1% regionally. We do note that there are, within Granville County, I recall, besides Hester and US 15, there's at least one, maybe two others. We have not made any recommendations for those other two due to the fact that NCDOT has looked at what we had chosen. Our first preference was that. We found out that they had an interest in doing some work there, and we see that that is an appropriate countermeasure. There has not been enough of an evaluation at the other locations to validate the use of roundabouts as an appropriate countermeasure for those locations.
Go ahead. This is, I want you to remind, he's looking, if I'm right, you're looking at Campo's area, correct?
That is correct.
So Campo's area does not cover all of all of Granville County.
Ends at the Tar River. In 85.
That's what I'm saying. It got to be some more roads in the Campo area. It's just as dangerous. It's just as dangerous as Hester.
The Cartars looked at those.
Are they looking at putting a roundabout in those positions too, roads too?
So the STIP, the State Transportation Improvement Plan, Mr. Baker, you can discuss this better than I can, but we have submitted a number of intersections to DOT, and I think some of them are in Campo and some are not in Campo. This happens to be in Campo's area.
That's correct, and as Mr. Withrow has mentioned, the day we went to Hester and 15 with DOT staff, we also went to a location, Woodland Church and Bruce Garner, and that was not on the NCDOT's radar, but it was on the high injury network. And so they are in the process of reviewing that intersection, and maybe in another year or two, it might be another opportunity to proceed to go after this grant if it still exists, or it might be something that we could do through Campo for locally administered planning project, LAP projects. And so it's all in an effort to try to bring more projects to Granville County. But it does mean that there's a local match associated with it, and it's work. But in regard to the chair's question, the other area that we went to again was Woodland Church and Bruce Garner, which was identified on the high injury network. That was the first time the NCDOT was aware. It was not on their radar. When we were standing there, you can tell that it has inadequate sight distance. It may not be a location for a roundabout. It may be some other type of improvement. This isn't a grant just to put roundabouts. The answer in regard to a safe intersection at Hester and 15, according to the NCDOT, is a roundabout. But other improvements, as time goes forward, may be identified.
Mr. Baker, could you explain Campo's boundaries and then explain also how Cartar looks at the STIP and we look at intersections there as well, and similar procedures used there? It just happens to be Mr. Withrow is representing Campo.
That's correct. You know, Campo's boundary in Granville goes to generally the Tar River, follows 85, is on the east side of 85, includes Creedmoor, goes into Wilton. The rest of Granville County, Butner-Stem, Oxford, northern Granville, or north of Tar River is in the Cartar Regional Planning Organization area. Both entities go through a prioritization process to select projects. The RPO selects projects, 3 from each county, based on whether it's roadway project, rail, air, bike ped. Campo has their process too. It's a little bit different. They have larger staff and whatnot. So But there is a process we follow through the RPO to try to identify dangerous intersections. And if you know of any, let us know, so we can let the DOT know.
Well,
It may or may not be on their radar.
We've submitted 5 intersections, and county manager also working with Division 5 regarding that. And I think 3 of these are actually in northern Granville. So we know that they have the information. The question is, it's not making the radar. And we've also offered funding to go with these projects if necessary. And the county manager, I think, most recently had further conversation on that, and he can provide you more information on that. So we are identifying these areas. This just happens to be one campo in which this grant would be applicable to, and they've done all the necessary work that's needed to.
Correct. It's Granville County going for this grant, making this grant application. And we have to piggyback on what the North Carolina Department of Transportation does. We don't, of course, y'all know, we don't have an engineering department. We don't have a road department. And so we have to piggyback on the work of the DOT. This is where they've identified a project, but they have a deficit, and it's an attempt to alleviate that deficit.
So,
And I will say that the application deadline is May the 26th. With a lot of DOT or a lot of transportation grants, this stuff comes at us very fast.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to be clear, since the 4-way stop has been installed there are no standalone statistics for the accidents that have been at that intersection since the installation of the 4-way stop. Is that correct?
If it was in 2022, it sounds like from 21 to 25 time period, it was 15 crashes with no fatalities.
Correct.
From 20, the previous year, 4-year period, which was 20 to 24, there was 27 crashes. The assumption would be that there more crashes occurred before the 4-way stop. But that's an assumption with a fatality.
so the 4-way flashing lights then on Elston 15 working, right?
The DOT wants to replace those with a roundabout. This is a DOT project that is identified, and so my understanding is that the 4-way stop is like a interim improvement for some point in time that there would be another improvement, which in this instance would be a roundabout. But the NCDOT has identified that this would be a roundabout as a traffic safety. That's correct. Again, we have to piggyback on the NCDOT. They want to let it in 2027. It's an opportunity. That's all I know to say.
Mr. Chairman, if you're ready, I'll prepare to make a motion that we accept the recommendation of our planning director, Mr. Baker, and move forward with the grant for the 20% match, $180,000 reserve for the federal 15 and Hester Road roadway project. Yes, sir.
If we go all this $180,000 if it up at the if it come up in another part of the county?
So if it's identified by NCDOT and as a future land use plan, when you think about something like the Northern Falls Lake Area Study, where the natural progression for traffic traveling eastwardly bound is going to be on Hester Road, and the more people that are coming here and the transportation planning for the future, because there's more people coming here, this is a proactive measure to take these old 4-way country stops where you had a death at that intersection 6 years ago, and haven't had any deaths. Now as you got a four-way, but you're still having crashes. This is a modernization tool that has been used in ancient times, and you can go all around the world and see traffic circles that flow just perfectly fine. So I think it's a fantastic idea that we put in the money, and if another project becomes available in Granville County that they need a match for, I would support it just as wholeheartedly.
What I'm saying is, it's just much traffic flow on 96 that is anywhere else.
What does that have to do with this project?
It got the same thing to do with this project. We gonna fund up $180,000 for that project?
We don't.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. A call for discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman. I just have a thought, and maybe I'm not a transportation engineer, but there are a lot of big trucks, 18-wheel trucks, 53-foot trucks that travel that road. And my concern is that when they approach that roundabout, are they really going to slow down enough to make that roundabout and not we have an increase in crashes there? That's my concern. And it's not from the people traveling Hester Road, but it's the people that are going down 15, those heavy trucks, you know, that traverse that road a lot. Are they going to slow down enough so that it doesn't cause another fatality when an 18-wheeler hits a car that's in that roundabout? That's my concern, that's all.
Do you have any, Mr. Winthrop, are all the appropriate safety techniques and tools devised to determine that the roundabout is the safest, and that something that Mr. Griffin's talk about would be minimized, or do you have any knowledge that they would be something that we would need to be concerned about?
Thank you, and good questions. Let me just go back. Earlier slides. And these will be provided for you. Basically, we take into account with regard to, this is a point there. Okay. We take into account with regard to just the design, you take into account if you see on the truck apron. So we do consider that, or it is considered from an engineering standpoint, to apply something to address the movement of trucks through that location. The other thing I want to share with you, of course, we note that you reduce conflict points. We note that with regard to roundabouts, while they prioritize them, fewer conflict points, you're reducing your crash. There's a crash reduction applied to not just cars, but any vehicle going through there. And of course, you're slowing the speed. So the key case for whether you're a car, truck, they naturally require drivers to slow down while navigating that circle, allowing that time to react. So those are applicable things that I wanted to share with you with regard to that. And the other important piece that I want to really recognize is the last paragraph, is that NCDOT engineers and municipal leaders, but we'll focus on the engineers since they're the ones that are the planners or builders, consistently defend roundabouts as the safest, most cost-effective solution to prevent deadly T-bones, head-ons at these high-risk intersections.
On 96 and 98, I have been through there, and I traveled that a lot. I have seen big trucks trying to make that loop going across on the trailer park, going across on there.
I'm sorry, Chair, where does 96 and 98? Did I hear it wrong? Where do they cross?
Now, before you get to Zell, 96.
Yeah, I understand the one you're talking about. It's in Wake County.
Right. And I have seen going across that. That's my thing. With those roundabouts, it look like it's safer than with the four-way stop sign. Instead of that roundabout, they're going around and they're going cross on the roundabout. But anyway, that's far in between. We got a motion on the floor. Are there any more questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, use voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Call,
Huh? All in favor, use voting sign by raising your hand. All opposed? Use, raise your hand. I'm gonna raise mine. Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, while we have Mr. Baker here and we talked about another intersection of interest within the Campo boundary, will the traffic impact analysis for those new subdivisions that are bringing in increasing traffic bring any resolution to some of those? Especially right there on Bruce Garner Road in between Woodland Church and Graham Sharon?
I'm not aware at this juncture of a TIA there.
Would the Oaks require one? I know the Northern Falls Lake, or the new Preserve West required one.
Those were approved prior.
Okay, so they didn't meet the threshold for when we changed the,
They had already been approved, yes, sir.
So then it's gonna be, the barn door's wide open, there's not, anything to do with that.
And let's, and I'm glad Mr. Withrow mentioned the area study. Please come 4 to 7 tomorrow at the Creedmoor Community Center. It's a drop-in, and there's been a lot of work. And certainly Bruce Garner has been a road of emphasis. And there'll be transportation improvement recommendations. The benefit of that area study, there's lots, maybe I don't get on my soapbox, but the benefit of the area study is it will help Campo with identifying specifically projects in Granville County that they can put in their MPOs every 5 years from now until MPOs are not, or the MTP are not prepared anymore. So we just finished Campo just finished the 2055, and as soon as that's done, they're probably starting the 2060. And that area study is going to provide information to guide that where it did not, these area studies was not part of the MTP for just what was just approved in 2055. So it's a major benefit to Granville County. And there are land use recommendations that y'all help fund. And so thank y'all.
I would say, Mr. Chair, if may I? I would say that one of the discussions we had the other day with Campo when we were going over the roadways, particularly the Hester Road, was that is going to become a major, based on the recommendations they're making. That is not going to be a minor drive-through. That is going to take on significant more traffic, and so that bolsters one of the reasons why a roundabout. Because it's going to be taking that traffic all the way across the county that direction. So, and that was something that was pointed out to us during the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Baker, for answering my question on that rabbit hole, and Mr. Chairman, granting the latitude to ask the question.
Thank you. Does anyone else have?
Thank you all.
Okay. Moving along to emergency communication matters. We pulled that. We pulled this. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, the purpose of this agenda item is to contract award for the solid waste collection franchise curbside service. The background, the current contract for the solid waste franchise collection contract will expire on December 31st, 2026. County staff issued an advertised request for proposals on February 2nd, 2026 for the waste collection services. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held on March 2nd, 26, which included a number of qualified bidders. In response to bidders' questions after the time of the RFP release and pre-bid meeting, 2 addendums were produced and released for review. Bids were opened and publicly read on April 2nd, 2026 in the county manager's office. Bid proposals and pricing were reviewed and discussed by staff, county administration, county attorney, as well as the Solid Waste Liaison Committee in awarding these contracts as discussed in RFP Section 1, Proposal 1.13, Standards for Award and Granting of Exclusive Agreement. A summary of bids received is attached for review. The initial term of the residential collection franchise contract will be for a period of 5 years beginning on January 1st, 2027 and ending on December 31st, 2031, with 2 additional 1-year extensions possible. Recommendation, Environmental Programs Director recommends that Granville County enter into negotiations with the low bidder, GFL, for the solid waste collection franchise work as described in the bid documents. Upon agreement of both the county and the GFL, the director further recommends that the Board of County Commissioners authorize the county manager to execute the contract once finalized by the county attorney. In addition to the recommendation, I do believe this will have to go to the board for 2 consecutive readings at the next board meeting, so I just want to make you aware of that. I'll confer with the county attorney to make sure that is possible, but I think it has to go to 2 board meetings for 2 readings, according to General Statute 153A-46. So, any questions?
So based on the requirement for that second reading, no action is requested tonight?
Yeah, it needs to be read. It's kind of like 2 readings. The first reading should be, I guess, read and approved, and then there's the second reading at the next meeting. 153A-46.
So it actually has to pass at 2 regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners. So the statute says no ordinance making a grant, renewal, extension, or amendment of any franchise may be finally adopted until it has been passed at 2 regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners. So it would need to be voted on at this meeting, followed by the subsequent meeting. It's got to be voted on at this meeting. Jason, is that consistent with your understanding?
Yes.
Y'all heard the President Jason, with the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the Environmental Programs Director to allow Granville County to enter into negotiations with the low bidder GFL for the solid waste franchise.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
It has been moved and proper second that we'll go into agreement with the lower bidder GFL for the solid waste collection franchise. All that in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to be clear, this would be the award of the solid waste franchise on the terms stated, subject to the completion of the contract.
Okay.
Thank you. What's in the agenda says enter into negotiations, but I believe we have the information necessary to enter into an award.
Enter
subject-
into award.
Right.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we can just clarify that. Is that acceptable to everybody? That's what his motion intended?
Okay. You entered into award.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Well, okay, we entered into award, the contract to the lowest bidder, GFL. All in favor, use the vote sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Just for the record now, we will be back in the June meeting and do this one more time.
I'm sorry.
That's correct.
County attorney?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Granville County and the city of Creedmoor for law enforcement dispatch service. Stacy?
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Currently, the Griffin County Emergency Communication Center is the primary answering point for all 911 calls inside of Griffin County, which includes inside the city limits of Creedmoor. We operate 24 hours. We always have staff there. The city of Creedmoor expressed an interest to transition to consolidate with us for their dispatch services. And overall, it's going to improve, one, the availability of a dispatcher, because they have been suffering with filling some spots, but also enhance the communication, more efficient dispatch, also offer better technology tools overall for them. And we want to use this consolidated communication model to promote a better service delivery, operation continuity, and coordinate emergency services among the public safety agencies within Granville County.
Go ahead.
Ms. Hicks, is this gonna put an extra burden on your, department?
No, we currently already receive their 911 calls, and because they are a small percentage of the actual call volume, there will be about 7% of the call volume. Our staffing levels are up, so I believe with our current staffing levels, we should be able to take these on without any trouble.
Mr. Chair?
Go
Could I
ahead.
ask Ms. Hicks to explain kind of the cost allocation model that we've landed on and how that's kind of a win-win both for the city of Creedmoor and the county?
Sure. So what the model we're proposing is that we will look at our total call volume, and then we will take each police department that we are serving and look at what their call volume percentage is of the total. So with Creedmoor's being about 7%, they would then pay 7% of the operating budget so that it's proportionally shared amongst all that we're dispatching for.
You have more than Creedmoor.
Right, currently, we already dispatch for the sheriff's office, which takes the majority of the calls due to the amount of population that they serve. And then we also have the Oxford Police Department, STEM PD, and Stovall. As far as police is concerned. We also dispatch for the 14 fire departments in EMS for the county.
Okay. Go ahead.
Will that model be carried over to other municipalities that we're not doing at this time?
That's correct. We are going to move forward with using that model overall for.
Countywide?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anyone else have any question for Ms. Hicks? Okay. With the approval of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the recommendation coming from our Emergency Communication Director, Stacey Hicks, in reference to the Granville County and City of Creedmoor Law Enforcement Dispatch Services.
Second.
It has been moved and proper second that we enter into agreement with Creedmoor Law Enforcement Center for dispatch. All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Stand approved. Thank you, Ms. Hicks. do we have, we have appointments, for adult care, home community advisory committee.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to, let me get to that page, please, but, I'd like to reappoint Miss Barbara Harris, from District 2. Her original appointment was in 2011. It expires this year. I'd like to reappoint Ms. Harris to this board, please.
Second motion.
It is moved and proper second that, Ms. Barbara Harris be reappointed to the Board of, Adult Home Care Community Advisory Committee. All in favor? Use the voting sign aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. And approved. Okay, Commissioner May.
I'd like to appoint Ernestine Sampson from Creedmoor to fill one of those vacancies.
Second.
It's moved and proper second that we appoint Miss Ernestine Sampson. All in favor, use voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, stand approved. Appointment and reappointment of the City of Creedmoor Planning Board, ETJ, member seat. Do you have someone?
They made a recommendation of Mike Allen. I recommend it as well.
Okay.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and properly seconded, Mr. Mike Allen be reappointed to the, Board of ETJ, seat. All in favor, use voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Any other matter? County manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one item tonight. As you all know, it's been a really busy, complex couple of weeks leading up to the recommended budget being presented. Last week, multiple work sessions involving lots of logistics, food, snacks, technology. And on top of that, last week, we were working through agenda review and preparation for this meeting. And I really want to give Jessica and Audrey in the clerk's office big kudos for managing all of that. It's been a lot the last couple of weeks, and they've really helped us pull through. So appreciate them. I appreciate our management analyst, Salma Rashid, who fills in at the front desk when Audrey and Jessica are busy taking care of other details for these meetings. So their efforts are noticed and appreciated. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. County attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have anything for open session. I do have a couple of matters for closed session for attorney-client privilege and property acquisition.
Termination.
Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't, when I pulled up the agenda, it didn't show up for some reason. Let me,
Yeah, determination.
so, I'm sorry. Bear
Okay.
with me. Okay. So you have before you, information relating to the potential termination of a lease with the Granville County Board of Education for the Butner-Stem Elementary School. Granville County and the Granville County Board of Education entered into a lease agreement dated April 13th, 2018 concerning the former Butner-Stem Elementary School campus located at 201 East D Street, Butner, North Carolina. The property is pledged as collateral in connection with an installment financing contract executed by the county in April 2018. Because the Board of Education no longer utilizes the property and the county intends to demolish the improvements thereon, the parties desire to terminate the lease agreement. The county was substituted alternative collateral for the 2018 loan. The county manager recommends terminating the lease agreement with the Granville County Board of Education. We have exchanged copies of the lease agreement with the school board's attorney, and I think all parties, including bond counsel, are satisfied that the document before you is legally compliant. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I would also note that this doesn't direct any particular action with respect to that property other than terminating the lease, which means that the property will remain under the ownership of the county.
We need a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else have any questions for the county attorney? Okay. Then can we get a motion?
I'll make motion that we accept the, to do away with the lease at the, advice of our county attorney.
Second.
It's moved and properly seconded, that we approve the county attorney, lease agreement for do away with the lease agreement of our school, former Butner-Stem Elementary. All in favor, use both sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, stand approved. Thank you. Okay, moving along to, presentation by commissioners. Commissioner Karan.
Sure. Since we have last met, I had the privilege to go on a small business appreciation tour in the city of Creedmoor with our economic development team. And I just want to say that it was very telling to see the scope of the team that was assembled there with Ms. Velasquez under Charlotte Duncan's leadership, was able to habla some Spanish with one of the owners there and made the tour that much more pleasant, and was actually able to go back and frequent the restaurant that we were at, and incredibly good food. So it was a good win-win for me. I got to eat something good. So on my own time, I went back, but that was a good tour that that economic development team had put together. I know that they had them in other places in the county as well, but that's concludes my report.
Commissioner Gooch.
Thank you, Chair Jay. We just kind of worked our way through the budget, and it was some tough negotiations, and we had to make some hard decisions. But today we had a meeting with monthly meeting with the bi-monthly meeting with the Granville County Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. And they were most appreciative for the position we approved for them starting in January this year. And they wanted me to send their thanks along to everybody on the board for supporting it. And thank you. And that's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
Commissioner Williford.
I too went on the small business tour with the economic team for Oxford, and since then I've also gone back to eat at two of the and something else at a couple of the new businesses. So kudos to the economic team for putting it together. It was a great hour and a half walking tour, so very educational. That's all I have tonight.
Commissioner Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say I appreciate all the hard work from all the department heads and all the people in the county office building under Drew's direction and everybody else's that put so much work into our budget. It takes a lot of work to get those budgets in order, and I just want to remind people that the government has no money. There is no money, and the money that we spend is your money. And we'll try to be good stewards of that money. And so with that being said, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the hard work. And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner Cozart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and just wanted to share one thing of actually commendations to our leadership at Advanced Granville Community College. They decided this year to do the graduation over 2 days, and they did not have it on the campus. But they moved it over to McGregor Hall and had a much safer situation. So just want to commend them on being flexible, and even though it had to go over 2 days, I think it was a much more orderly and a much safer situation. So we're very thankful for that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner May.
Yes, I got something tonight, so a little different. I too attended to small business, went to several businesses in Creedmoor. It was a really good roundup, and it was good to see the small businesses and they're thriving. So kudos to the city of Creedmoor and to their small businesses there. We're about to meet some real milestones on the litter program. I really thank Commissioner Gooch and Commissioner Griffin for working with me on that and staying with that. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow. We're going to really do a number of things. Mr. Falls is here. He's done a great job of helping us, and we're going to roll out a website. We've got some signs made up. We've got some really good information going for us. Granville County Public Schools is really engaged in that. And we're also going to have a law enforcement component on it, which Mr. Griffin and Captain Bryan are working on. So we're appreciative of that. So it's made a lot of progress, and appreciate that. I want to remind everybody again about the North Falls study, and tomorrow, May 19th from 4 to 7. I really hope everyone will come to that. They can come to that. I think it's critical to see what the study shows us. It's clearly enlightened us to a number of things that we need to adjust on. And as I spoke with the county manager during the budget, that we really there's an emphasis on planning. It's here. So we need to get our hands around it. We need to be on top of it. We need to fund it appropriately, and we need to give support to that office that they need to be able to meet the demands that are coming. I'll be meeting with the senior citizens on May 29th in Creedmoor, so everyone's welcome to come that they'd like. And I'd like a brief comment here about our budget. Mr. Griffin's absolutely right. It's not our money. It's not. It's taxpayers' money. To pay it in, they expect us to take care of it. And that's why we talked about expenditures. We talked about some things that we know they're going to be pain points. For us this year, there were pain points, and will be pain points that we'll face again next year. And so it's why I brought up gasoline. It doesn't seem like a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Even bigger deal than we can imagine. So when you're paying $2.89 gas per gallon, it matters how far people travel to and from. It matters the impact that you have on the cars and the gas and oil and all those things add up over a course of 100+ cars. So I'm glad our fingers on the pulse there, and we'll be making some recommended changes I think that are badly needed. And finally, county employees. I'm happy that we made the step that we needed to make for our county employees. Some of us worked in private sector and government work most of our careers. I worked most of my career in government, and I can, in capacity, whether law enforcement officer or things of that nature. You never go into those jobs expecting to get rich. If you do, you probably need to pull out. It's not the job for you. It's kind of a community calling, a calling of service. But you do expect to pay people a decent wage and be competitive. And so after a lot of good debate and so forth, I believe we found that spot, because we don't need to be the lagging entity when it comes to paying our employees. And we need to ensure that we are paying them at a level that's competitive and we can keep them and maintain them. Because here's the deficit to that. If you can't pay your employees at a rate that's competitive and keep them, they're going to leave. And when they leave, it costs us. There's a cost with that, and that cost is costly. And so
within reason, to do the very best we can to compensate them, but make sure that they know they're being compensated for the right reasons. And that, you know, they understand they're performing a service, but they do have families to raise. And, you know, when an average county employee pays $10,000 a year for health insurance, and we know other people do that as well. So we're not saying other people don't pay that, but then they're making, in many cases, far less than what they're making than someone that works at another business of such. And so I'm thankful this county recognized that and collectively came together and agreed that we would do the right thing by them. And so I do appreciate our county employees, and I thank them for what they do and how hard they work. So thank you.
We'd like to thank each and every commissioner what they have reported and said. I did take the tour and in Oxford. Yes, I was, but I was at a meeting and that's why I was late. But I enjoyed it, and I found out you go by some of these stores, you find out though. If you go back and find out the root of how they got here and what they are doing in our county, it's mind-boggling. Because I didn't know that the little record store on Main Street, how he got here was through by somebody else, you know, and he's doing a great job, and he reaching a whole lot of famous peoples. But I enjoyed that tour, and I was going to the one in Creedmoor. I just want to let y'all know, I was coming down there. Only reason I didn't go, I had a doctor's appointment. That's the only saved me from coming down there. I did let Charlotte know that. That's why. 'Cause I believe in what you do for one, you get to do for the other. If you go for one, you get to go for the other. With that said, are there any other things to come forward before we decide to go into the next session?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we take a 10-minute break and reconvene in executive session.
Second that.
It has been moved in proper second that we take a 10-minute break and then we go into executive session. All in favor, use voting sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.